Want to use mine?
Are you blind? What are you looking for? Sheila. Oh, she's right behind Gator.
If it dies, just holler.
At least I see red hair out there. Yeah.
But you might be shy.
I think that's right. I just can't see your face. She's turned.
Oh, can I come?
Yeah, there she is. That's her. Listen.
Check. Calling Mr. Beaverland. Calling Mr. Beaverland.
Up on aisle two.
Sorry about that, Mayor.
All right. It's only fitting that it's Janice's birthday that you're down there.
Yeah, that you're down there like Janice would be.
Good evening. I'd like to call the Tuesday, March 20th, 2018 City of Oldsmar City Council meeting to order. If you'll please rise for our invocation and our pledge that will be led by our city attorney, Mr. Tom Trask.
Our Father in heaven, give us the power to clearly discern right from wrong. Allow our words and actions to be governed thereby and by the laws of this land. We ask for your inspiration to strive in our endeavors to serve the public. We also ask you to direct us so that above all things we will discharge our duties to the benefit of the people we serve. This we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and once again, welcome. Our first item on tonight's agenda is our citizens' open forum. We only have a couple of rules that you keep it to no more than 5 minutes. You state your name and address clearly for the record, and there are no public hearings, so you can address anything on tonight's agenda. Having said that, Linda?
Hi, everybody. I'm Linda Norris, 510 Oakwood Boulevard. Congratulations, Gabby. Congratulations, Eric.
Thank you.
Mayor and Council, I'm here on behalf of the North Pinellas Cultural Alliance. I was just recently voted chairman of the board, so I guess they decided that having somebody that can do organizational things instead of be an artist will get things done quicker or things done a little bit more efficiently. So at first I was a little nervous about it, because I'm not an artist, but when I ran a meeting, I realized, hey, I can do this. I can do this. So anyway, we'll have our first meeting as me being chair in April. But I came to invite y'all to our ribbon cutting for our mural project in Sheffield Park. Okay, so I have an invite for all y'all. I'm already handing them all out and everything. It's going to be next Thursday, and it's at 4:30. And we are going to have the press there. And the artist, of course, will be there. And our little model, Avery, on our little, okay, the only thing that's confusing about this invitation is you got Avery, who's this little like 2.5-year-old girl, and then underneath it, it says artist Noelle Stillman. Okay, she's not the artist. She's our little model.
You didn't put that together, did you?
Me and Susan, I have to thank Susan Davis Oliver because she helped me do
I
this.
just want to make sure you didn't organize that.
I did. And I didn't realize until I was at FedEx printing them, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I wonder if people are going to think that little girl is actually the artist. But anyway.
I'd go with it.
So we really hope that y'all can come, and it's going to be nice. Hopefully it's not going to rain. And it's an absolutely beautiful piece of art. I think you guys are all going to be happy about the location, the color,
It's really nice.
yeah, it's a little different than what we had you guys give the thumbs up for.
Much more vibrant.
It's more vibrant. We wanted it to be more vibrant because it's on black.
Yeah.
And so when we looked at her design, it had too much black in it. And so we asked her, and she let me help her. So, I'm in heaven when I get to go out and help a painter paint something. And so I just kept telling her, no, let's punch this one up. Let's punch this one up. Let's outline this one and this, so, and she was very open, but I let her make all the decisions. I just gave her suggestions and told her this, and then she came to the decision on what color to punch up and what to do. But she exceeded our expectations. She really did. And of the 3 that are done, this one blows the other 2 away. So,
Because it's an Oldsmar.
I don't want to say that because then I don't want to diss the other cities. Just know that of the three that are done, this is definitely the best. So,
Thank you.
that's it.
There you go.
So give these
Awesome.
to Kathy and. So thank you. Oh,
Thanks.
one more thing. Sorry. And I don't want to be disrespectful, but I have to be somewhere at 7:30 or I'd stay for the whole meeting, so I have to leave. So, but it's no disrespect to anybody here.
Get on it, girl. You printed them upside down.
Nice she is.
I said you printed them upside down.
He's just messing with you.
Anybody else on this side of the room? Oh, Gator, Tony, I don't, whichever one, you guys can fight it out.
Betting on Tony.
Tony, go ahead.
Here's another one.
Is it a tag team? Yep.
Go right ahead.
My name is Tony Gross, 711 Sand Leaf Avenue.
I'm the husband,
Say your name.
Husband.
Craig.
Thank you for the honor and blessing of being here tonight for the re-swearing-in ceremony. That was a blessing, and the food was really good, too. With the upcoming Memorial Day ceremony, Craig and I wanted to present before you something to consider. And because we love our city, our community, we wanted to extend an offer to do a catering for the lunch afterwards. So instead of hot dogs, if you might like to have Frankie's Patriot Barbecue, perhaps do sliders and chips, we would be honored.
Sounds good to me.
Yep, I'm in.
I don't know, Dan's a little picky, he might,
Well, we could fix that.
yeah.
We can make it frog legs or something like
there you
that.
go.
So that's what we're here for
That'd be wonderful.
tonight.
Yeah, that'd
So-
be great. Just coordinate
Thank
with
you.
Felicia or something, or, yeah, okay.
Actually, Dan, I thought that we would do a possum etouffee for you.
I'd like to see
It's the
that.
least I could do.
And I don't care, I'll try it.
You don't want to confuse Dan and food, okay?
Don't stand between Dan and food.
Yeah, that would be
That'd
wonderful.
be awesome, yeah, that'd be
Thank
great, thank you.
Very much.
Anybody else on this side? Gator, yep, sorry.
I'm Steve Gator Black, 2010 Hudson Court, Oldsmar. I have several things tonight to talk about. First of all, I want to apologize to Councilman Beaverland for misplacing his poem. I put it in an envelope and put it someplace where I could find it so I would not lose it. And due to age, I forgot where I put it. So he has graciously decided he would let me have another copy.
Okay.
So you will hear his poem.
I gotta get mine written.
I have two poems to read tonight. One is called The Intensity of the Game, and this is about a baseball game. Since we've got the baseball season coming up, this kid is not a future Tampa Bay Ray, but anyway, it's the bottom of the ninth. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Score tied 3-3. The batter was looking at a full count. A hush fell over the crowd. The tension was almost visible. The batter hadn't had a hit all year. Time, called his coach. He wants to talk to the batter. What was said couldn't be heard, but a smile comes on the batter's face. The pitcher stepped up to the rubber, winds up for a fastball. The batter swings and hits solid. As the ball cleared the center field fence, the batter was rounding first base. What a hit. Billy had hit a home run, and his team won the game. When the cheering died down, Billy had shaken every hand. It was time to go home and finish studying. He had a big test tomorrow. After all, Billy was just in the 3rd grade. And this one is appropriate for anybody that wants to claim it. It's called Getting Old.
I'll claim it.
I did a little bit of copying from some of the poems and things we heard all of our lives. And it goes like this. It's raining, it's pouring, but this old man ain't snoring. Went to bed with a plugged up head, and I still had it in the morning. Starlight, star bright. Sure wish I could sleep at night. Hickory dickory dock. I seem to sneeze around the clock. Mary had a little lamb, and I just got a cold. Life is great, my friends. It's just tough, this getting old.
It's pollen season. I can definitely relate to
I
that.
thought you wrote that.
I know. And for those that don't know, a couple of meetings ago, I don't remember when, Gator has become Oldsmar's poet laureate. So that's why he brings us poems all the time. So what was it, a couple meetings? Yeah, a couple meetings ago. So thank you for that. What's interesting about the poetry is I always thought it all had to rhyme and make sense, and you're a poet and don't know it type of stuff. But when you read them, it's really more about a story, and poetry is different things to different people. So.
Mr. Mayor, how's your poem coming along?
I put it in an envelope, and I put it somewhere where I wouldn't forget it.
For copying what I read.
That is my poem right there.
I do want to tell you that we have a poetry group that's been started at the library. We meet the second Saturday of every month at 10 o'clock in the morning, and we go over poems that people have written, or they can learn about how other people write poems. And you are correct. Poems do not have to rhyme, and everybody, in my belief, has a poem inside. Even you, Mr. Mayor.
Can't wait to.
Thank you.
You and me both. When is my term up? Thanks, Gator. Anybody else on this side? No? Anybody on this side? Mr. Peruzzi?
Good evening, Council. Jerry Peruzzi, Upper Tampa Bay Chamber. Congratulations, Gabby and Eric. I just want to let you know about something going on here in the city of Oldsmar this weekend. It's called Oldsmar Days down at Ari Olds Park. It's going to kick off Friday night at 5 o'clock, and I just found out about an hour ago we're going to have a VW car show down there on Friday night. And of course, lots of arts and craft vendors, food vendors, some beer will be flowing, and bands will be playing. So Friday night is Johnny G. Lyons and Greg Billings. Then Saturday, we kick it off Saturday morning, 11 o'clock, with the parade that starts at the library, with all the old Oldsmobiles that will be in the parade and the dignitaries. And from the parade, there will be an Oldsmobile car show down right next to the band shell. And then again, a lot of arts and crafts and vendors and beer and food. And Saturday night will be...
and Carnival.
And oh yeah, Carnival's there. And Saturday night will be Stormbringer. And then Sunday, we'll have another open car show starting to kick off the event. And then again, arts and craft vendors, food vendors, and some beer, Carnival. And then bringing us home, of course, will be the Black Honkies. So I hope to see everybody there. I know I'm going to see most of you there, because thank you for volunteering. And I got most of my volunteers back here that'll also be volunteering, because to put that event on with just 3 of us in the chamber, it takes about 400 man-hours to put that event on. And we appreciate all the help we get from everybody here. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Looking forward to it.
You know, when he started off talking about the parade and all the I thought he was about to say the old city council is going to be riding. I'm like, wow, that didn't take long. It's a great event. I don't know, Gabby, you're getting older.
Next week.
She's still the youngest council member up here, so
I'm sticking with it.
I'm staying away from that one. Anybody else on this side? Okay, Tracy.
Good evening, all, and congratulations. Tracy Earhart, 220 Corkwood Lane, and I am going to talk about our Relay for Life event, which is the American Cancer Society's fundraiser. It's a signature fundraiser worldwide, and our event here in Oldsmar is going to be on Friday, April 13th at the Oldsmar Sports Complex. For anyone who doesn't know, this year the ACS has decided to pull it together with 4 communities, so it's going to be a mega event. Tarpon Springs, Palm Harbor, Oldsmar, and Safety Harbor. So we've got all 4 communities coming to the event this year, so it's going to be a bigger event than we've had recently. And just want to make sure that everybody comes out to the event. It'll be from 6 p.m. till midnight. It's a short event this year, but it's going to be a great time. So anybody who wants to, come on out. Hopefully, I don't know if they've invited you to speak, Mayor, but I would like to invite you personally if they haven't.
We'll be there.
Okay, all right, and that's it.
Are they going to rotate it every year? Is that the thought, or no?
Well, this is the first time that we've combined it to be a mega event, and because some of the other communities don't get behind it as well as Oldsmar, and thank you, City Council, for getting behind it as well as we do. You know, it takes a city, it takes a village, and if the communities don't support it, then the events don't do as well, and some of those communities just didn't have a strong event, so the ACS made a decision to combine the 4 communities together, and we here in Oldsmar tend to have the best place to do it.
It's a good facility. So.
Yeah, so, but hopefully we can rotate it so everybody can take some of the responsibility each year.
Good,
We'll see what happens.
good. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Anybody else like to address the city council? Yep. Yeah, real quick.
Does it need to go before the Veterans Advisory Board that we?
Can you come up just so we, I don't know if it's picking it up or not.
Does this need to be presented before the Veterans Advisory Board as for Frankie's Patriot Barbecue to cater the Memorial Day event?
I don't think so. No, Felicia's fine with coordinating it, because I don't think they coordinate the food anyway, do they?
No.
I think it just, food will be there, so,
Yeah, get with her.
Okay.
with Felicia, so,
Okay.
yep, it'll be good.
Thumbs up then?
Yeah,
Yep.
Okay,
Thumbs
thank
up.
you.
thanks, Tony.
2 thumbs up. Anybody else like to address the council? Seeing no one, we'll close the citizens open forum. A quick mayor's minute, a couple of item recap. The Mayor's Council of Pinellas County, it's official, I am the incoming president of the Pinellas County Mayor's Council. Congratulations to all the new elected officials who won during the recent March election across Pinellas County, including our very own Gabby McGee and Eric Seidel. A great time, the Sheriff's Office Annual Community Service Breakfast. It's a great event. It's a chance for them to, for the sheriff to say thank you to all the local programs and HOAs that make a difference in our community. The sheriff always does a great job thanking the different communities throughout Pinellas County. Lynn Reeves Environmental Education Center unveiling. That was Monday, March 12th at Mobley Bayou Environmental Education Center. I think it was a nice tribute to Lynn and all the work that not only he did for the city, but his staff did, with the exception of the crane that I operated to lift all those piers. The staff pretty much built that entire thing. So it really shows what we can accomplish when we put our minds to it. The art reception and exhibit opening, that was Tuesday, March 13th. The reception and opening exhibit with Fringe Creatives currently, and they're currently on display. Do we know how long that will be there, Deb, by chance, or do we know how long that art will be? For a while? May? Okay, sounds good to me. Upcoming events, the public information meeting at City Hall, that's Wednesday, March 21st, which is tomorrow. Grant applications to renovate Cypress Forest Park. Oldsmar days and nights, as Jerry just mentioned, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and we are working
Sunday, 12 to
Sunday,
6.
12 to 6, the Oldsmar City Council and other staff, I guess, do we have still? Okay,
Yep.
good.
Committee.
Come out and join us for that. I think Jerry mentioned, gonna have beer there, I think, right? Yeah. So, free admission, you can find out the entire lineup at oldsmardays.com. Again, free electronics and chemical mobile collection. That's this coming Saturday, 9 to 2 at the North County Satellite Center on 19, next to GTE Financial Credit Union, just south of Curlew Road. Community film screening, Wednesday, March 28th, 6 to 8 p.m. at Rockstar Cafe, free admission. The City of Oldsmar and Pinellas County Extension of UF and IFAS present Dirt the Movie. I'm not sure what that is. I might have to check that out. Annual Easter egg hunt at RE Olds Park. That's Saturday the 31st, 9 to 9:30. Free event. All ages are welcome. Special appearance by the Easter Bunny. Bring cameras and get there early. It says 9 to 9:30, but it starts at 9 and it's pretty much over by 9:01. The kids go crazy. I feel sorry for the parents that are walking with their kids and they blow the whistle and the eggs are gone. I don't know how many are out there, but there's a ton of them. So. Drive Electric Tampa Bay is at City Hall Saturday, March 31st, 10 to 2. electronic vehicles on display, family-friendly, free admission. And I'm not sure, but I know in years past, you've been able to drive some of those electric cars. There are some of them there that you can actually test drive. So usually a pretty good turnout. And not this year. Not this year? No? Okay, probably liability. City of Oldsmar annual photo contest. Show us your Oldsmar. We do this every year. It's open not only to city employees and residents, but it's open to everybody. Basically, they're looking for pictures in and about Oldsmar with a brief description of your photo and where it was shot. Your photo will then be entered into our selection process. First prize $200, second prize $100, third prize $50. Information, I guess, on our website, myoldsmar.com. Let me see, I think I got one other thing, a quick update. I mentioned that the city of Oldsmar was in the running for the money from Forward Pinellas. We were selected for the Complete Streets project, awarded $50,000 from Forward Pinellas, and advanced forward for the main spot for construction funding. The city of Largo got theirs moved forward, but we were moved forward ahead of them, but we were the only one that got the funding from Forward Pinellas. So that was a very nice thing, and thanks to the city staff that put that presentation together. It's always nice to get things in the form of a grant, and the construction money is $1 million on top of that from the FDOT. Basically, what has to happen is Forward Pinellas needs to put it on the work program, and then the FDOT will consider it. So that's just the process of doing it. So we are in probably the #1 spot for that particular Complete Streets project. So that wraps up the mayor's minute. Next item is our consent docket. We have nothing in the CRA. Our consent docket has 3 items. Approve the minutes of the March 6, 2018 City Council meeting, approve payment to legal counsel, and approve the tentative agenda, which is in your packet for April 3rd. If nobody wishes to pull anything, I need a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passes 5-0. City of Oldsmar Transportation Plan Presentation. And I believe we have someone here.
Mr. Schneider, Jared Schneider.
Jared Schneider. Please step forward.
Good evening, Council. Thanks for having me. Really happy to be here again. Jared Schneider with Kimley Horn Associates.
Mayor, could I ask one question?
Yeah.
Could you tell everybody how much this thing costs?
Sure, this was a $50,000 study that was approved last year.
By the council.
By the council, correct. Yes, sir.
Council, go ahead.
Okay. All right, so what I want to talk about tonight is just a summary of the transportation plan. I'm going to go through the process that we went through and really focus on some of the key priorities, and then also talk about the successes and next steps. So being a planning nerd, I've always loved looking at this map, and you guys are blessed with a wonderful vision that Ari Olds had of, as you all know, with the gridded streets. And then you look at what we have today, and there's really a vision. Not all of it worked as he intended, but really just a great network of streets was created. So we're really just trying to focus on ways to enhance what you already have and not mess it up, if you will, because it's a really good base to start with. So some of the key goals of the plan are really to identify long-term needs and come up with improving connectivity, or ways to look at improving connectivity and linking to economic development, whether that's through freight, looking at some of the major employers that you have, how do we connect freight, and then especially the downtown area, how do we look at biking and walking connections. And really what we're trying to do is identify high priority projects, a list of projects, a game plan that you could go with, and next steps, as you'll see in the end of the report, of what partners can you go reach out to, and what are some short-term, mid-term, long-term things that you can get accomplished. So this is a schedule and the process that we followed. We started with kind of an existing conditions analysis, then worked through the community engagement, came up with some recommendations, and then we have the final report that should be in your package. Again, building off what Ari Olds did, you guys have done a fantastic amount of work over the past, so we didn't want to recreate the wheel. I know you went through the Revitalizing Oldsmar effort with the USF students recently, and then you had the Tampa corridor plan, or Tampa road corridor plan, excuse me, the old town center plan. So really wanted to build off of those great efforts. There's a lot going on. You know, in the next 5 years, these are projects that are committed either through DOT, Pinellas County, or through the city. So we really want to build off of that. I can't have a presentation without trying to sneak my kids in here. So this is us enjoying the beautiful offerings of the parks that you guys have. So through this engagement process, we had an online survey, had over 200 respond, which was really good to see. Had a presentation with the Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce, and then meetings with some of our significant stakeholders. As you know, some of the major roadway facilities are DOT roadways. Transit's run by PSTA. The mayor mentioned Ford Pinellas, so we thought that was key to really start talking with these folks. Also had discussions with CSX as well. Then we also had a public workshop towards the end of the process. So some of the main themes that you all know, it's really a lot of the state facilities are the barriers. Tampa Road, 580. How do you get people traveling along those corridors and then actually get across those corridors as well? That's key. Regional local connections. You guys really have some really significant regional connections from a trail connectivity standpoint. You've got the Pinellas Trail, and then on the east side, Hillsborough. You know, we've talked with Safety Harbor. How do you connect to Safety Harbor? So really, it's not only about how do we connect within Oldsmar, but to your regional partners as well. And again, this all kind of benefits and coordinates with economic development. So we plan by saying multimodal transportation, we plan for all modes of transportation. And the first thing we looked at was roadway and freight. We all drive, 99% of us probably drive every day, and freight's a key component. So to kind of highlight what we looked at some of the crossings along Tampa Road. Those were some of the major things that we heard, especially from the survey. Forest Lakes at Tampa Road, that was the big one that came up time and time again. So really looking, we had a meeting with DOT and talked to them about, how do we get that looked at with signal timings, looking at those queues at this peak hour, how do we improve that intersection? So that was pretty much the key improvement identified there. We also looked at some streetscape improvements. The USF students talked about Park Boulevard and could you do some things in the medians and streetscaping with trees and crossings. So those were some areas that were identified in red on this map. There's some longer term items that were addressed as well, extending Oldsmar, and then could you potentially realign Bayview Boulevard at some point. Oops, apologize. Yeah, so this is a picture I took at 5 o'clock. So definitely went out there, walked the road, and can we make the crosswalk a little bit better? Can we improve the signal timing? Those are the things that, if anything comes out of this, we continue to follow up with DOT. How do we look at this corridor? And not only on a Wednesday. I thought this is a Wednesday at 5. What I thought was great was my opportunity to come up to Oldsmar so much and see what you guys have going on and really enjoy it. But I saw this on Saturday, at noon as well, really backing up. So that's something we want to continue to look at. Transit improvements, we talked with CSX, and we were happy to hear from them that they were willing to continue to look at commuter rail as an option. We look at that as more of a long-term option. So could we initially look at transit stops and transit gaps? That's something that we heard at our public workshop. If you look at the map on around Curlew Road, green is what you have today from an existing transit route. So really you're kind of got some gaps. PSD has gaps up there along Curlew and portions of Tampa Road. So could we get some better connectivity up there, including some stops? And that's underway at Woodland Square Mall. They're talking about some additional stops up there. Could we also look at a local bus circulator? That was something that was mentioned in the Revitalizing Oldsmar plan. Could we get a circulator going from downtown to some of the major employers crossing Tampa Road? We felt was key. Also, before looking CSX, we felt like could be a longer term, the commuter rail could be a longer term improvement. Could you look at more of an express bus connection from the airport to Oldsmar, then to Clearwater as well? Could you do that initially? That's something that's a little bit lower cost. So we talked to PSTA about that. My goodness, you talk about trails and bike connections. I mean, it's amazing what you guys have done when I look at this. 12 miles of trail connections. Any city that we deal with or what we work with throughout the nation, you guys really need to pat yourselves on the back for this. So we looked at how do we just enhance what's already there. So there's some gap locations that we identified kind of in that green buffering areas where the trail drops off into some of the neighborhoods on the east side, and then on the west side as well by Moccasin Creek. So how do you make those connections? Again, the crossings around some of these state roads. You look at like 580 over there in St. Petersburg Drive. There's kind of a dangerous curve in there, and you got kids crossing in that area. So how do we improve the crossings? Those are our big recommendations, looking at those crossings. There's some things we talked about from signage and wayfinding. You could do an overall network approach where you kind of communicate, and you have that in some places, but how do you further communicate, here's where I am on this network, and what are these points of interest? And then we talked about bike connectivity as well. Again, you guys have a really great network, so we looked at how do you just enhance and connect to the trails. Same thing with the sidewalks. Again, you guys have done a great job with the sidewalks in some locations. So we looked at some of the gaps, and then the bike facilities. Again, we just looked at the gaps. So some global enhancements. Again, we looked at additional wayfinding and signage. That was the thing that we heard the most from the surveys and the public workshop is when you come in on Tampa Road, everyone talks about it. You fly through Oldsmar. So how do we create more of that place? And then we've identified some wayfinding and signage locations as you come into Oldsmar on 580 and Tampa Road. And one of the interesting things that we talked about with some was this kind of theming or historical branding of your bike facilities or your trails. Maybe it's something fun that people could go and really learn about the history of Oldsmar and some of that's already being done with the beautiful museum you have here. Again, bike share, that was something that was mentioned in the Revitalizing Oldsmar plan. We really like that idea as well, and maybe connect that with a BMX event. We thought that could be an interesting idea. Technology and automation. Obviously, we're moving with autonomous vehicles, so we need to continue to look at that. And there was just a crash yesterday, so we need to be aware in Arizona. We need to be aware of what's going on with that. But that's definitely coming. So some of the successes that this process already had, Mayor mentioned the St. Petersburg Drive grant application that was conducted through this process, and again, Ford Pinellas, there's $1 million grant application or construction dollars that will hopefully be coming within the next few years. So we felt a really good success with this process that St. Petersburg Drive was really highlighted. I think the things that we talked about are continuing to focus on some of these grant applications, and that's what this plan really strived to do. Is you really have to have a game plan and a list of projects, and this is the perfect time as you have Ford Pinellas is updating their long-range transportation plan. Hillsborough is federally mandated to update theirs as well. And DOT is constantly looking at what locals are recommending. They want you to have that plan and the list of projects identified. So that's what this process really strived to do, to list kind of the short, mid, long-term projects. And then the back of the report, we really identified with each specific partner, what are some steps that you can do? There's some things you can do tomorrow, and there's some things that are going to take some time, but you've now got it documented. And there's probably some things that you continue. I'm hoping that last thing we want is a report that's going to go sit on a shelf that no one's going to use. So there's probably going to be some other things that you want to add at some point too. So I hope it's a live document. So that was the last bullet. We really think you need to continue to coordinate with the partners. A lot of that's already happening, and staff's doing a great job of that. So I just want to thank you all again. This has been really fun working on this with you, and just proud of what you've done, and continue to move it on. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Yeah.
I have some comments. Of course, I have a special feeling for Kimberly and Horn, but told us for $50,000 is what we've already done. And I think we've done a great job. The councils in the past, this council has done a great job over the years. So what you've done is for $50,000 is that you've told us how successful we are. And there's some things that you have brought up you bring up DOT and the lights. Well, DOT doesn't control the lights. Pinellas County controls these lights. And there's not much you're going to do about it either. Very little you're going to do about it. And you're going to reline Bayview Boulevard? How are you going to do that?
Again, that's identified. I would not tell you to go do that tomorrow. That's a long-term plan.
Okay, so we do it in 5 years. What are we going to do?
Well, I don't think that's the purpose of this study, is to,
Then he did the study. All I'm asking is, what is his recommendation that we reline Bayview Boulevard?
Trying to understand the questions. Why would we realign, or what's the question?
How are you going to reline Bayview Boulevard?
Well, obviously, you've got some challenges with that. I wouldn't say it's 5 years. One of the number one things we heard in this plan was, how do you create more north-south connections? So we looked at some ways. Bayview was one because we felt like that kind of connects into.
How are you going to do it?
What you're going to have to do is look at the post office, obviously. You're going to have to eventually, at that point, whenever you feel like you want to look at the post office and maybe relocating that, you'd have to do that.
We cannot relocate the post office unless the post office and the U.S. government and whoever the post office works for anymore, they're the one that's going to decide that, not us. Okay, let's go on a little bit. You all make great presentations, but see, I was not really in favor of spending $50,000 to have somebody tell me where we already have all been a success. And I don't see anything, or I haven't heard it yet, how you're going to help us improve anything. We've already created the trails. The City of Oldsmar staff did that in the council and the past councils. You're not going to do anything with Tampa Road. I guarantee that, because that's controlled, except the lighting, is by Pinellas County and DOT. You're not going to do a thing with Curlew Road. We can't do anything with Curlew Road because that belongs to DOT. Mm-hmm. And the sidewalks, see, and I'm giving the credit to the council and the staff a long time ago. We've already done all these things. And I questioned this at the time, if we're going to spend $50,000, and I'm not saying you all didn't do your work. You did. Kinley and Harn has been incredible partners with the City of Oldsmar a long time. And I've enjoyed that. In fact, I wish some of your employees worked for us. Sometimes they have worked for us. But what new, it's just me, council, what new that I can learn from what you just told us? What can we do that's going to enhance everything? You haven't told me anything. But I do appreciate you coming here and making your presentation. It's a great presentation. But most of whatever you've talked about, the staff and the city mayors in the past and the city councils in the past and this city council has always made it a success.
Yeah. I don't know if you have a response, but I appreciate what you're saying, but I have found that over the years, and we've all been on various boards, and I think that the Forward Pinellas grant project is a prime example of what potentially could come out of things like this. In the years past, we have struggled to get ourselves identified as a transit hub and a transit city, and to make sure that we're on these lists and these work programs. And that's been a long effort to try and.
That has nothing to do with this.
Well, let me finish.
Well, finish. Okay.
Well, I will, if that's okay. Thank you.
Okay.
And I have found that over the time.
Careful, Mayor, he brought 2 shovels with him tonight.
Well, that's why I figured I'd pile it deep, so.
I was wondering if that was for clonking the consultants on the head, too, yeah.
By the way, Mayor, I brought you one too.
Oh, good. Well, I'll probably use it.
It's downstairs.
Okay. But at any rate, and I have found that both when I was on the PSTA, on Forward Pinellas, it's more so now than ever important to do the outreach out to the people. It's not what we as a sitting board, whether it's the PSTA or Forward Pinellas, or that it's about reaching out and really listening, much like we did with the USF, listen to the input that's being put in, and then take that and tie it together with the FDOTs, the Forward Pinellas, and we haven't done a lot of that in the past,
We haven't done a lot of that?
we have, but it's a much more concentrated effort now than it's ever been, because the DOT is really emphasizing that you need to be on whoever it is you're working with, whether it's the PSTA, when I was on the board with that, or Forward Pinellas, that you got to be on their work program. You've got to get them to buy in before the DOT will commit funding to it. So, I mean, I know it seems like a whole lot of nothing, but this is the absolute required effort.
I agree with you. I agree with you. We've been doing that for the last 25 years.
And in answer to your,
this doesn't help that.
And yes, it does. In answer to your Bayview question, because we continue to have dialogue and discuss it, no, we're not going to fix it here tonight. But if we continue to bring these items up, Forest Lakes and Tampa Road, we continue to bring those items up. Eventually, it might get onto somebody's work program. So, I mean, it's a prime example with the Forward Pinellas, grant funding program. Had we not continued to work this effort, we would not have gotten that funding, plain and simple.
But we do that separately, Mayor. We do that on purpose.
This is all part of the tools in the toolbox, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think to that point, when I look at this report, and I'm with you, Jerry, I mean, there's things in this report that I don't think will ever happen.
Yeah.
I mean, in all reality.
Yeah, you got to have some long-term.
A whole slew of reasons for it, most being economic, right? However, there are some solutions proposed in it in terms of additional bus stops. First question I ask, do we need them, right? I mean, little things like that, but what I see the value out of this is what we just went through.
What?
Forward Pinellas, right? So the grant money, this is how I look at it, and maybe I'm just oversimplifying
No,
things.
you're right,
Let me
but we
finish.
asked for it.
We got the 50,000 back from them, but when we showed up with our application, it came with an independent report that highlighted our needs, and the others may not have had that.
Yep.
And so now we're in first position for $1 million grant.
But we didn't do that with this report.
I think this was backfilled for that report and other things that we're working on. So that was my takeaway of why we were digging into this report, because a lot of those agencies now are looking for some independent, well-qualified research that comes along with the application. So hopefully we'll be able to use this to multiply that effort.
Do you know how many times we've done this?
Yeah, it's a different game now.
Wait a minute.
How many?
And we have presented this over the years.
And we've got grants.
That's the reason why we are where we are, and that's the reason why part of the reason is why we got the $50,000. Is because this city is not sitting still.
So let me ask you a question. We've done this over the years, correct? This type of a thing? And it's gotten us where we are today. Then why would we stop?
No, I didn't say it got us where, not these reports. Oldsmar is where it is today because of this council, past council, and the staff. We did it. We did it here in-house. And we presented. Look, your presentation's fine. I'm not arguing about that. The $50,000, we've already done it. We've already made it. You sat here and praised us for what we've done, and it cost us $50,000. Thank you. I do appreciate that. But the money could have been used somewhere else.
I would respectfully disagree that this is a very valuable tool in the toolbox moving forward.
Okay, that's fine.
And I feel like we got the money back and it positioned us for the bigger grant.
Whatever.
And then my hopes are, my understanding is that we'll be able to use this same report. I don't know how long the shelf life of it is, Jerry, honestly, but for other type grant applications. So now when we're submitting.
If that happens, fabulous.
Well, I mean, listen, if we get the $1 million, then hey, I would say it's a good thing. But I do have a question.
Sure.
There's one thing that I think is missing in the report that was a total miss, and it's a growing trend here in Oldsmar, especially in the old Oldsmar section, and there's like little discussion about any kind of golf cart traffic. any kind of accommodations for
Sure,
that.
sure.
I'm curious as to why that wasn't included.
Yeah, it's not something that came up too much, and we could have hit on that a little bit. I agree. I was going down by RE Olds and I saw the sign. One thing we tried to hit on was lowering traffic speeds as it relates to golf carts. So I think that's something we
I
could
didn't
have.
see, I saw one mention of golf cart information when I
Yeah.
read the report. And I read the 38 pages. $50,000, of course I'm gonna read it.
Well, I have to admit, I didn't read the whole thing,
Of course
okay?
you did. But take my word, there wasn't much about golf carts. I mention it though, in all seriousness, because one of the things that you do hear about on council from citizens is how come we don't have golf cart privileges in our area, on the other side, and, down, or west rather. And
Like north of Tampa Road.
yeah, I mean, it's kind of, listen, we have this great traffic that comes through our city that helps our businesses and so forth, and does put us in a regional hub type position. It's also a curse in a way, because it also creates a lot of traffic with it. It makes it very difficult for us to be able to, we've talked up here about attempting to get some golf cart crossings, but that's an easier said than done because we don't own the street, right? And the state's not normally real excited about granting those types of things. Not to say that it's impossible, but I just think that you guys missed the boat on the report. I'm really surprised.
Well, Eric, any subdivision can make and they have, can make their presentation to the city, Forest Lakes, If the homeowners association.
We just did it for my neighborhood.
Like Gulliver Village, they can petition the council for it, and I'd vote for it, for Forest Lake.
I don't disagree with you, but my point was more as it relates to the kind of overview and the vision of, wasn't part in there.
The mode of
Yeah,
transportation.
because, the reality of it is, listen, when we get a downtown finally built, guess what? It should be a golf cart destination for our citizens.
Well, see, the problem you're alluding to, and what I think maybe, and what you're asking of him, is going to be really complex, because how are you going to get them across Tampa Road?
Well, that's-
That's
558?
what he was hoping for.
That's what I just said.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway,
I
fine.
mean, listen, we obviously didn't make it a directive within the report, probably we should have, because, that is to me, a huge question, especially if you have a downtown that you would like to make it a golf cart destination for our citizens. And the question is, could have you guys, as part of your research, done the research in that subject of where has there actually been a golf cart crossing granted going across a major state road?
Yeah.
So maybe we have something to go mirror after it, or something
That's going to be the
actionable.
problem. That's going to be the
That's
problem.
going to be the challenge. But in any event, it is what it is.
And can I just want to add one more thing, because when we went through this Ford Pinellas, and I'm talking about the value of this report, especially to the value of this type of report to a city like the city of Oldsmar. I got to tell you, it was a pretty big win to beat out Largo. They're a much bigger city. Parts of their budget are probably bigger than our entire budget. And I sit on the Tourist Development Council board, and when all the capital project money requests came in, I can tell you that 95% of them were split between, can you guess which two? City of Clearwater and St. Petersburg. So for a little city like us to be able to battle some of these bigger cities, these are the type of things that separate us from the other
I
cities.
totally agree with you.
Yeah, so I mean, you might think it's a waste, but
But this had nothing to do with it.
from a quality of a presentation that we're able to make because of things like this can set us a little bit ahead of a Dunedin or any other city. It doesn't matter. And you have to have that. Otherwise it's going to be the haves and the have-nots. You're seeing it happen, that the smaller cities are not going to get it, and they're going to be left by the wayside. And so, I mean, again, it's a very powerful tool to say, hey, don't forget about the city of Oldsmar.
Well, let me tell you, when I was first elected to council, the city of Oldsmar was important to nobody. Now, 30, 40, 50 years later, we are the hub of 3 million people. We have 70,000 cars go through our city a day.
Yeah, I'm using that.
So We've done something right
But it's
ourselves.
but it's because we haven't rolled over and played dead. We continue to do this, and whether you agree with the 50,000 or not, I think the
Which
value
I
of the
don't.
report, you know,
Okay.
is the important thing.
Anyway,
And
Mayor,
we don't go away. And,
I won't
you know,
say, I won't say anymore.
yeah.
I just have
Thank
a few
you.
comments. I mean, we debated the cost when we decided on this, so there's really no need to debate on it again. We have the report, we've
Yeah.
spent the money. I think it's valuable in the sense of, just because you do things well doesn't mean you don't have to plan for the future.
Oh, absolutely.
You have to continue to plan for, even to Eric's point, whether it's golf carts or autonomous vehicles. Those things all have to be planned for, and it costs money to create plans. It does. I think it was valuable, insightful in the sense of I learned about things, trails, connections, sidewalks that I didn't know we didn't have, or maybe that we might need. So I think that's important. And I would agree with Eric on the golf cart thing. I think that would be great to include. And then also the only thing I didn't see, and maybe it's in here and I missed it, was just about the pedestrian overpass, because that will be a big part of, I didn't know. if
That's
it-
in some of the maps as the committed projects. for
Okay,
sure,
okay,
yeah.
I didn't see it, but yeah, so I think that's key, and maybe potentially around that being a way for golf carts to cross.
One thing about the pedestrian overpass, that this council initiated that, and it's going to happen because we initiated that from the studies from staff. We're going to get the overpass. I'm sorry, Mayor.
That overpass is not
Because-
paid for, Jerry. It might be in the capital improvement
Okay,
budget.
Funded.
It ain't funded.
It ain't funded, and this is just one of the many tools that you use.
And I'll just say that's where I thought this effort was good in meeting with some of the partners. We already talked about Fort Pinellas quite a bit. DOT's changed a lot in the last 5 years. They're going more on complete streets. And what I thought was valuable is showing them what you are doing, talking about some of these intersections specifically, and some of this DOT staff, they didn't even realize what you're talking about as far as a pedestrian overpass. Obviously, some of them do. So to be able to kind of show that in one clearinghouse, if you will, one area for them to understand what you're trying to accomplish with that crossing with St. Petersburg Drive and how all that ties. They don't think about it that way. It's more, how do we get a project built, one specific project, not a full citywide, what you all trying to
Got to
accomplish.
continue to get in front of them. I mean, it's
And
more
you've got
important now than it's ever
documentation
been.
right now,
Yeah. So. Any other questions?
Yeah, I just want to say one thing, Gerald. I read the whole report as of what Eric said, and a couple things that I really enjoyed is I learned, especially about the Bayview Street, and I was telling the city manager about it when I met with him this week. Is I wish we could fix that right turn. That's the biggest problem. You know, you're looking at that
Bayview onto Tampa.
on the Tampa Road. I mean,
That's programmed. That will be fixed.
That's
That's within the next 5 years.
And the other thing that I enjoyed about your report is I found out that from Pine to Racetrack Road, the line ball extension is actually going to be beginning to start being widened to 4 lanes.
You talking about Forest Lakes?
Yeah.
From Pine- Yeah.
Yeah, all the way to
that's
Racetrack Road. So I actually thought your presentation was great, and I do appreciate your hard work. And I think we can use this tool in the future as our city grows and make these improvements. So thank you.
Yeah, that's the Forest Lakes, I think, is in.
that's in the budget.
That's in the
Well, it's in the
budget.
county budget, but I think.
Yeah, it's in the county budget.
And because they've already done all the preps, they did all the groundwater stuff
Yep.
to it. They resurfaced it, obviously, and things like
The only
that.
other question I had was, in the plan on the map, it said proposed multimodal center. It looked like it was on the corner where currently a gas station is. Is there a reason why it looked like
I
it
think we
was?
had the flea market site on there.
Yeah, I mean, because I think it's right where that circle, is it the circle?
Yeah, I
K?
think it's out in front.
Yeah,
of
but
the
I just,
property
when I
there.
saw that, I just had a question about,
Okay.
because I think that obviously it wouldn't be possible to go
If
there.
you go
there's
back, I
already-
think, and correct me if I'm wrong, and maybe Marie knows, but if you go back to that transit map that we had, one of the transit long-term plans was to redevelop, or potentially that
Our
site
station
could be,
area
the
plan,
flea
yeah.
market could be.
Yeah, it was specific to what looked like a
Right.
parcel right where the gas station
Okay.
was, so I thought that.
The county's
Yeah, take a look
Phase
at that.
3 plan at one point was the property we have right over here, where it's got that little station,
Yeah,
part of their long-term Phase 3.
transit,
That was Susan Latvala and myself.
yeah.
Phase 3 was all we could get.
You know, the first time when they built Forest Lakes Boulevard, I'm gonna call it their aquifer study. was totally screwed up.
Groundwater report.
The groundwater just came right up and lifted everything up.
They missed the boat on that one.
They
Having
missed-
done drainage for 25 years, they definitely missed the boat. And the subsurface fell apart, so I appreciate it. If there's no other questions, we appreciate it. I agree that the golf carting is going to be something,
Yeah.
that, not just our community, but a lot of communities are starting to
My
feel
neighborhood
it.
has golf carts, and I know people have been asking me for the Harbor Palms. They want to have golf carts, so they want to, it's growing.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
maybe as Council McGee mentioned, it's with that overpass, potentially looking at that.
Yeah, as a potential way.
yeah, way to get across, so, awesome.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Next is, Braithwaite Show for the Employee Service Awards. Can't wait to see this. Are you gonna upstage yourself?
Just hope Mr. B's not critiquing it.
I'm sure. He brought 2 shovels.
Was that a warning?
My apologies, it was just what I was thinking, I just couldn't help myself. All right, good evening, everybody. I'm here to give out 2 service awards.
Oh, thanks.
As you know, I enjoy this immensely. The first one I'd like to give out is a 10-year service award to Heather Davis. Heather, you want to come up? Sorry, you have to wait for that.
Wow.
There's an award, and more importantly, a check.
Pointed around the other way.
It's pointed out that way.
Hey, Al, can you turn that mic around so it's aimed at you? That mic?
Oh, that's right. This mic? Or
Bring it up.
Is that all right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I never need a mic. Keeping with our tradition, there's a picture of Heather out of her personnel file. I think that's a nice picture. You don't like it? Okay. Anyway. All right. Heather Davis, employee number 416, hired March 3rd of 2008. As we just said, we're celebrating her 10-year anniversary. She's a library assistant. I think she's in the circulation department, but I got a little confused in that. That's correct, right? Okay, good. Thank you. Heather was actually the first new employee we hired after we moved into the new building, which is kind of cool, 10 years ago. I think it's cool because I like to acknowledge through these awards that many of the people we have kind of grown up with us. And clearly, not only is that true of Heather, but she also grew up in the building, which I think is kind of cool. In her daily routine, Heather assists in training of new hires and volunteers, which is very important. She has training in the processing of interlibrary loans and performs the functions of the circulation coordinator in her absence, maintaining the OCLC, which is what?
That's like loans from around the country.
What does it stand for?
I have no idea.
So what does it stand for? Nobody knows. It's something to do with the library. Okay, because I meant to ask you that before, sorry. And the navigator systems for interlibrary loans. Now, for those of you that don't know, did you know that if we can't find a book here, we can actually get it for you if another library in the co-op has it? I want everybody to know that, because I think that's cool too. Heather has crafted, designed, and maintained 3 library programs for teens and adults. She consistently contributes ideas for new offerings. Heather actually started our gaming program. Yes, I said gaming. We will come back to that one. She assists adult services librarians with purchases for both teens and adult nonfiction. She is occasionally asked to actually supervise the volunteers. She repairs books. That's the coolest thing in the world. She actually repairs books. We don't let anything go to waste in the library. And as part of, I may have shared with you before, my mom was a lifetime librarian, so there's nothing worse than a wasted book, in my opinion. From her supervisor evaluations, Heather is always quick to learn, adapt, and train others when we introduce new circulation and patron account systems in the library, which, believe it or not, has occurred 3 times in the past 10 years. She's always been helpful when planning programming that is outside of her department, and I really do mean to say this, like the Teen Zombie Apocalypse program. Yes. This is not my mom's library anymore. We have a Teen Zombie Apocalypse program. Okay, good thinking there, Heather. She's very adaptable when it comes to helping in other areas of the library, like filling in at the reference desk whenever necessary. She's especially helpful whenever we are shorthanded. Professionally, or partially professionally. Heather is currently the vice chairperson for the city's EAC, which is the Employee Action Committee. This willingness to serve is the key to the success of this organization. Like many of you who serve your community by volunteering for service or boards or even running for council, what you rarely ever find out about is how frequent and vital employee volunteerism is inside the organization. In this capacity, Heather volunteers her time and energy to represent the employees of the library on the Employee Action Committee, which functions as the sounding board for employees on employment issues citywide. The fact that she was nominated speaks to the respect she has developed amongst her fellow employees. The fact that she is now the vice chair of the board speaks to how well she has contributed to the success of this board. I am personally grateful for your willingness to serve your teammates. And this little section I call my 2 cents worth. From my years in this organization, I have long admired how many people we have that are more than willing to drive change, something I have struggled with as a dinosaur. Now, it also strikes me that librarians, for some reason, seem to be better at adapting to it than most of the other employees I've served with over the years. Don't know why that is, it just is. Heather, in her 10 years with the library, has, as I said before, grown with us, and she's learned all of what it takes to be a vital member of the team she is on. But as you have heard, she adapts to change well and has actually driven it in our organization with success, like the zombie apocalypse program. Heather possesses many skills that she might not have even been able to exhibit in her 10 years with us. She has training, marketing, and advertising education. She's got significant IT aptitude. She knows Java, Python, and Ruby. I thought those were people in places, but somebody told me they were computer programs or operating systems or something like that. And has even had her photography placed and on display in the gallery here. I'm sure we haven't taken advantage of all of her skills, but she is obviously a very talented employee. We do know how to pick them. What impresses me most is her commitment to teamwork. It is evident to me that Heather, like many others of our great organization, understands the value of teamwork and constantly displays the cooperative attitude required to be vital to her team and therefore the organization and the public. The comments you've heard about her willingness to learn, serve, adapt, adjust, all contribute to the success of her team. The library that most of us knew back in the day has drastically changed, which shouldn't be a surprise. But now, more than ever, all citizens should come check it out. You can still do everything you ever could do there. I heard that Dewey Decimal still lives. Does he? Is that true? Thank God. It's the only part I remembered. But you can do so much more. Heather is one of those great representatives of dedication to the community that can help you find out anything you need to know. Come visit her and find out. You won't be disappointed. My mom, as I mentioned, was a lifetime librarian in both the public schools and in my hometown. She would be very impressed with what our library offers to the community and very proud of the employees who offer it every single day. Heather is one of the vital people to that mission. We want to express our thanks to Heather for her service with this award and recognition for her 10 years of the community. Congratulations, and can't wait for the 20th. Thanks, Heather. I get all the ones that don't want to talk. Okay, everybody take 2 steps to the left.
Wait, you got a halo going.
I'm kidding, I'm kidding.
And of course, everybody knows that the OCLC is the online computer library center now.
Who looked that up? What, was that, should I have heard the Googling in the background?
Like, you don't think I knew that?
All right. My second and final award, this one's painful, is to one of our most experienced people, leading characters, and our fire chief, Dean O'Neill. Dino, you want to come up? Are you joining us?
Yes.
You want to join us for the picture? All right, we'll leave you off the hook. Well, you want to join us? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think we just changed our mind.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, there we go.
Oh, yeah. There's the, straight out of the book, there's your reward, sir.
Like he's even age.
Excuse me a minute.
Dean, are you drinking the Fountain of Youth syrup?
I know, you don't.
He does kind of look like a
Exact same.
criminal.
say that.
I shouldn't have said it that, I was going to say something else, but I'll say it. Anyway, as most of you know, Dean Francis O'Neill is our fire and EMS chief. This is his 25-year anniversary. He was hired on March 22nd, 1993. He became the fire and EMS chief on February 19th, 2012. He was hired as a firefighter paramedic on March 22nd, 93, promoted to lieutenant on October 1st, 2000, promoted to captain on March 6th, 2011, became chief on October 1st, 2011. He's been promoted 4 times in his career here. See the picture. Believe it or not, Dean is a twin. Now, your brother's name is?
Seam.
Okay. So I was just wondering who we should feel sorry for there, but I'm guessing the answer is probably your mom. Both served our country, United States Army. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Dean is an exceptional leader in his profession. Just ask him. Thanks, I wasn't sure that was going to work. His job duties. Dean provides superior service to the public through the outstanding leadership of the fire department. Dean provides a tremendous sense of reassurance about the safety of our citizens' property, and in some cases, even their lives. I don't want this to get emotional, but I read in his file, mentioned it later, there were 70 commendations, 70. Which made it a real pain to go through your file because it's that big. But one of them I wanted you to see. Mike, can you hit that? That was in the middle of it. Now, I'm guessing there's probably more of these still, but that was a little girl whose life he saved. So we're talking serious here. Anyway.
Wow.
His 25 years of experience has been an impressive crescendo of achievements and promotions through his thirst for education, consistent pursuit of certifications, degrees, and training, culminating in his being named fire chief for the city upon Scott McGuff's retirement in 2012. Dean is a take-charge leader that doesn't hesitate, even when he should. That didn't work, sorry. Didn't hesitate to make a decision and has a keen grasp on the difference between what is important and what isn't. His staff may not fully appreciate what he provides in terms of career guidance each and every day he works here. I hope they do. Even more impressive are his skills as an instructor and a trainer. He saved the city many thousands of dollars by performing in-house training on a multitude of training topics, such as diversity in the workplace, active shooter response, drug-free workplace, emergency preparedness and operations, including the incident command system. These are usually full-day trainings, and everyone in the emergency operations org chart is required to take them, and they're usually required to take somewhere between 2 of them or 7 of them. Dean performs all of that training in-house. And if you ask anybody that participates in the training, he's probably the best trainer anybody's ever seen because he's fun. He actually makes it fun, which is really hard to do on that particular topic. He also could teach about any other topic we may need. Okay, this list starts to get long. He coordinates the annual staff planning conference. He also assists in the coordination of the agenda for the annual council planning conference. He functions as the training coordinator for the city's Olds Leadership Development Program. He's highly regarded and sought after as a guest speaker at local, regional, and national fire academies. He is a charge-ahead commander who never lacks for an answer or a plan, provides a tremendous sense of security for the community, the organization, and for me especially because of his vast training and experience. He possesses numerous certifications, including instructor credentials in both human resources and all subjects related to fire service. Okay, here's a few, and trust me, this is just a few. National Fire Academy Executive Fire Officer, National Registry Paramedic, State Fire Inspector, Life Fire Training Instructor, Fire Service Instructor, National Fire Academy Planning Section Train the Trainer, Chairman of the Continuing Medical Education Steering Committee for the Pinellas County Fire Chiefs Association, St. Pete College Advisory Board, and that's only about half of them. Effectively runs the planning function of our Emergency Operations Command and stick handles all our issues that arise with skill and confidence. continually updates the emergency operations plan, and provides continual training to new members of the EOC org chart, conducts a full exercise for the city every year, also serves as the city's safety officer. His greatest strength is his commitment towards employee development. His greatest skill is his ability and willingness to help his employees get there. He does it with skill, humor, and at least one Blazing Saddles reference in every presentation. Give that guy a harumph. Sorry, that's an inside joke. Some comments from his supervisors. Dean has excellent communication skills, very effective instructor and teacher. Your message was excellent, humorous, and right on target. I was referring to a guest speaker engagement he did at the Fire Service Academy. He's very effective in analyzing and evaluating any given situation or event. Great relationship with peers, other employees, and supervisors. I didn't write that one. Excellent tactician during stressful emergency incidents. Demonstrates a high degree of problem-solving skills during regular in-house issues that arise shift to shift. He shows excellent decision-making skills during an emergency, life-threatening incidents that endanger the public and his crew. Competent fire officer. Personally and professionally, his achievements. He's the first fire department employee, and so far the only one that I'm aware of to acquire a master's degree. Is that true? So far. I can't think of it. Yeah, you. Get to work. He was the Honorable Mention Paramedic of the Year in 1999. He's a member of the SEPSI Fire Science Advisory Committee at St. Pete College. His initiative created the new countywide CME program. He can explain that later. Created a community service hydrant painting program a long time ago. 70 commendations, as I told you, letters of appreciation in his file. He has successfully reorganized the departmental personnel several times during his tenure. Thematically, his goal was to focus on training and fire prevention programs, both of which were badly needed. The workflow greatly improved by the organizational realignment. Successfully negotiated a fee increase for wildland fire protection agreement with Pinellas County for the Brooker Creek Preserve. Was the co-project manager for the city manager's succession plan, so we can blame him and Tom for the council choice. I should have done better, sorry. Was the co-project manager, sorry, just read that one. Current chairman of the grievance board, which speaks to the respect he commands throughout the organization. Very important role of service to the organization. He completed Leadership Pinellas. I think you were the first city employee, wasn't he? He was the first city employee to complete Leadership Pinellas. He serves as an adjunct professor for the National Fire Academy in multiple topics, has a perfect attendance award winner in 3 different years, and they were in a row, which was kind of cool. I mean, you may have had more, but they were recognized in your file. He's the former chairman of the Pinellas County Officer Development Program. My 2 cents. Great instructor, great teacher, great leader. On one of his evaluations as a lieutenant, thought this was really strange but interesting. He added a self-rating to the rating he received. I never saw that before. He actually get his rating, and then he'd tell you right on it whether he agreed with you or not. For like 10 years in a row. It was very interesting. I won't tell you that most of the time he thought he was better than his supervisor did, but I didn't say that. Anyway. As a new manager for me, even though I'm an experienced guy in the business, Dean provides a tremendous sense of comfort in emergency situations especially. Congratulations on a memorable and very successful first quarter, Dino. I don't think I could name too many people that have accomplished what you have in your career with this or any other organization. Here's hoping to that you hang in there for a few more years and that your staff knows half as much as you do when you decide to hang them up. Sincerely from the council and from the community, thank you for 25 years of dedicated service. You make us all better. Okay, except for those of us in finance. Thank you. I'm pretty sure he wants to say something.
Actually, I originally thought, I'm not going to say anything, just except thank you. And then I thought, that'll stroke Al out if I don't say something. Because he knows I'm usually not short on words. You can't make 25 years without a lot of help from a bunch of really important and special people. And a lot of those people are here today. A lot of those people are here on the council and other councils I've worked with. I can't tell you how nice it's been to start as a firefighter paramedic and then stretch through my career into different roles that I got to do. And the support that the city gave me for my own personal education and for projects and for things that I wanted to do, it couldn't have been any better than this. Two of the best things that's ever happened to me was the night I'm standing underneath the Oldsmar Bridge working for the ambulance service, and Jeff Bogue, who was a paramedic here at the time, said, "Hey, Dean, we're looking for a paramedic." He goes, "Come by the station." I go, "Where's Oldsmar?" Never been there. And came by the station the next day, put an application in, and been here ever since then. And I couldn't have done all that without Michelle, who's sitting here with me today. We've been together now for 25 years, and she's been such a support, and absolutely the most important thing that's happened to me since I've been here. So thank you very much. I can't guarantee another 25, but I'm not leaving yet.
I'm gonna do one for Facebook.
Do one for Facebook.
Can you angle that award down just a little bit, maybe, Michelle? Thank you. Oh, it's fine with me. Thank you.
Congrats, Steve.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
It's always nice to see how Al wings it.
You know, we've gone from one extreme to
We've
the
gone
other.
from one.
Yeah.
So you've been here 10 years, right? Congratulations to both of you. Our next is the presentation of the Council Manager Award for March 2018, and Councilmember Seidel.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You know, sometimes you give this award and you have a hard time about anything to say about the person, and all of a sudden a few months go by and how much that changes. I'm very honored to be able to present the City Council City Manager Award to one of our really unsung leaders in the community, and that's our President and CEO of the Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce, Jerry Peruzzi. Jerry, can you come on up? You know, before I start, I'm going to do this real quick, just to give you an idea of how well he is respected and thought of. Could everybody from the chamber who's come out here tonight stand up? There you go. That says a lot, right? So, Jerry is, he's really one of those guys who are, he's there early, he leaves late, he doesn't reap a lot of attention on himself, and he took over the chamber a few years ago, and here we are last year. They were voted within their population size as the #1 chamber in the state of Florida. And you know, that probably is enough justification for him getting this recognition. Little background. Jerry served the U.S. Postal Services for 38 years. Before retiring, and some people don't know this, that he was the postmaster here in Oldsmar in 2010. How about that, right? Yeah. And that's probably one of those jobs that are pretty demanding. If you think about it, not everyone always happy about their mail and calling checks in the mail. So he's dealt with a lot of irate people, and after he retired, the chamber was able to lure him away, or I guess less than a month after he retired, they lured him into the chamber to serve as the business assistant specialist, which what they do is they promote the business agenda, help businesses, and he did it both with Hillsborough and Pinellas County and here through Oldsmar, of course. And of course, he got all the privileges of the times when someone's upset because they didn't get a permit, and it's the city's fault, or, you know, and so he dealt with that. And he's did a really good job with it, and I think it's fair to say that his hard work made an impact here in our region, not only to the relationship with the business community and the cities and the counties, but also an impact on the local economy. He's that kind of leader. He became chamber president in 2014 and has led programs and chamber growth that resulted in the recognition in 2017 as Chamber of the Year. Two of the more noteworthy, particularly noteworthy, first, Jerry takes the mayor and city manager to something in particular. Jerry Custon sent me some notes, okay? And they're kind of difficult on me sometimes, so I'm just going to talk the rest of the time. One of the programs that is a really important program that has started and continue on, and that's when we go visit our local businesses. And we do that
once a month, fourth Friday.
Fourth Friday. And so the city manager and the mayor and Jerry go out in a group, and it's really an excellent opportunity for the relationship to get even better between the business community and the city and the Chamber of Commerce. And it's one of those things that has a real impact, and it's called We Mean Business. They always get to see the good, the bad, and the ugly whenever they go. So I was very surprised when I learned that Jerry had never received this award, especially knowing all of the impact he's made in our city. But then I thought about it, and I thought, you know what? I'm not surprised, because he's one of those unsung heroes here in Oldsmar. So it is my privilege to present you with the Council Manager Award of Recognition presented to Jerry Peruzzi, March 2018.
Thank you, Eric. It's an honor receiving this award from the city, because we have worked very closely over the years. With the respect I have for the city of Oldsmar, the city manager, the mayor, assistant city manager, the city council, and actually all the employees here in the city, on behalf of myself and the chamber, proud to accept this award. And thank you again. And thank you to the board members and ambassadors that showed up, took time out of their life tonight to come here. And thank you to my wife, who's got to put up with the time I'm not home. But thank you. I really feel like a city employee, so I was just wondering where the check was.
In the mail.
In the mail.
Stuck in the post office. Post office.
Yeah. You guys go, then I go.
The fan club.
We're so proud. Yeah.
There we go. Okay, hold on. Yeah.
Taking a picture.
It helps if I turn the thing on, right? Thank you.
I would just like to say, first of all, congratulations, Jerry, and I think that was a great pick, Eric. And I work with the chamber on an almost daily basis during the week, and discuss things that are coming up and how we can do things and work in harmony together. I think the relationship with the city and the chamber is probably as strong as it's ever been. I'm not a board member, but from everything I understand is that Jerry has really, from a financial standpoint, has really turned the chamber around and found ways to do things better and cheaper, whether it's to go out and buy equipment as opposed to renting it all the time and owning it, and doing that to putting on the events. And, as Jerry said, there's only a couple of you in the chamber, but, if they didn't believe in the chamber, they would not come out and support the events that they do. And I communicate with other cities for other things, when you talk about the relationship between another city and the Chamber of Commerce, I don't think that there are any that have the relationship that the city of Oldsmar has with the chamber, and we continue to work, on a fairly regular basis to see how they can help us and how we can help them, and how together we can better the cause for our businesses and our residents in the city of Oldsmar. So I contribute that to the board of directors and the leadership that you have there, and to Jerry and to Mark and to Jerry, and you do a lot with a little. So congratulations to you guys. So. Let me guess, you're going to have Italian dinner tonight, right?
At least a glass of wine.
And that's a prime example. Casa Costanza, I don't know all the specifics, but basically they literally got off the boat from Italy and came to the city of Oldsmar, and Jerry kind of took them under his wing, and they have continued to flourish, and it's the kind of passion that you have not only for that company but other companies in the city of Oldsmar. But the guy could barely speak English very well, and Jerry's trying to get him through the permitting process, and he doesn't know. And they've been very successful, and I attribute that a lot to you and the fact that you'll do everything from wait tables to serve food, to do the dishes in the back, to try and help them work out. I know they just hosted, or they're getting ready to host, I guess, Nielsen, a big, like an international event, and Jerry's helped pull that together. They hosted the New York Red Bulls, and Jerry helped pull that together, and he does that for other businesses. And he's serving, right? He's a server. He wears the little hat and everything, but you have a real passion for what you do. And you had 30, what'd you say, Eric? 30-something years in the post office?
Yep.
A lot of people just retire, but and he'll be out there this weekend, slaving all weekend long, driving piles and hanging banners and serving beer and everything else. So congratulations to you again. But next item on the agenda is, you have anything? Our city attorney?
I don't have anything tonight,
Thank you. So next is city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 7 is revoke bid award B17-08, the downtown water main replacement project. In terms of background, on August 15th, 2017, the city council awarded bid B17-08 to Keystone Excavators for the completion of the downtown water main replacement project. Due to a bid protest entered by Suncoast Development, Inc., the city has decided to rebid the project in an effort to reestablish a level playing field. The bid was awarded to Keystone Excavators. However, a contract authorizing the start of project completion was never signed. The new bid process request will be presented to council in a separate agenda item.
Looking for a motion, please?
So move.
Second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion on this item?
I do.
All right.
In the first place, I wouldn't have given in to him, but I understand that we're kind of between a rock and a hard place on that. I do want to ask this. If the bid requirement this time, Tom, is it going to be placed in the contract that we're going to be in better shape if Keystone or someone else gets the bid and these people start complaining again? I understand there's some things in the bidding contract where they used to complain about this, and I'm gonna make it plain up front. And I would even inquire of this Suncoast people that you always don't have to take the low bid. We have turned down the low bid a number of times in this city, and I believe that, and I don't like to be blackmailed. So, and I think some of the problem, I understand some of the problem was the verbiage in the contract. Am I wrong?
In the bid requirements, you mean?
First of all, as for, the reasons why it was done, I think that probably the city manager has talked here. Really don't want to get into the details of that because of
No, I'm
the
just
litigation that is
okay.
currently pending. But when you revoke the bid to Keystone, it now allows the city to go out and rebid the project. Everybody is coming in at the same level playing field. We don't expect to change any portions of the RFP that I'm aware of. It's just going to be rebid. So everybody.
Okay, well, what happens if this scenario happens again, then what?
Well, then we'll look at the facts of that situation to determine whether or not it requires another revocation. I don't foresee that happening based upon what I know of what happened in the process.
Okay, because I think it's anybody's right to accept the bid they want. The lowest bidder is not always the best bidder. We just found that out with some tragedy here at another place. I just want to, I need to voice my opinion.
Gotcha.
I don't like to be blackmailed.
Well, and just for the record, when we talk about low bid, what was the total bid and what was the difference? I mean, from a percentage standpoint, it's like,
It was 4%. It was $26,000 on 2.4 million.
so, yeah, I mean,
Very minor.
it's a very a minor amount, so it's not like it's that big of a deal. So, any other comments?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. So I sometimes can't hear you down there. 5-0, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 8 is authorize city manager to re-advertise bid 17-08, the downtown water main redevelopment project, and it authorizes the city manager to advertise for the replacement bid process, which is B 18-04, invitation to bid. As I mentioned before, these are two separate agenda items. Our normal process for establishing a bid, step one is to authorize me as the city manager to advertise for the bid, and that's what I'm asking council to approve here.
Need a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Second, motion and a second. For the purpose of discussion, do we have an estimated time frame of when, I mean, because at the end of the day, the project is what has suffered through this whole process.
Yeah,
So,
and some of the people on this project is drinking muddy water.
they're not sitting up here, are they, by chance?
Well,
Oh, I didn't see it.
yeah, we are setting up here. My wife will not drink the water. She buys bottled water.
It is in there. Any other discussion on this item? Nope. All those in favor? Aye. Passes 5-0.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 9 is approved work order number 14 under the Jones Edmonds and Associates Corporation RFQ Agreement 2014-04 for general engineering services for utility projects. That was originally dated August 19th, 2014. The background is that Pinellas County is, and we discussed part of it tonight, designing improvements to Forest Lakes Boulevard for widening between Pine Avenue and Racetrack Road. The plan is to add a lane in each direction with associated stormwater and sidewalk improvements. The project also requires removal and replacement of unsuitable materials in large areas of the road right-of-way. There are several locations within the Forest Lakes Boulevard right-of-way where existing water, sewer, and reclaimed water system pipelines are in conflict with the roadway design and will require relocation in order to coordinate with the planned roadway improvements. Under the proposed agreement, the consultant will provide the professional engineering design services associated with the relocation and adjustment of city-owned utilities along Forest Lakes Boulevard that are in conflict with the county road widening project. The services will be performed on a time and materials basis with a not-to-exceed amount of $55,000. The funding for this work is available in another project fund. We will do an internal budget revision to move it, and then we will cover the funds in the June budget revision since this was a surprise. Staff recommends approval.
So moved?
Need a motion? Oh, okay.
So moved.
Yeah, I said so moved.
I guess-
Sorry, we're a little bit quiet on this side.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 10 is to approve the purchase of the Cabelco hydraulic excavator. I don't know why I can't say excavator or excavator correctly. I apologize.
But you got Cabelco.
I got close. Yeah, that's easier.
Where's the picture?
So I'm requesting council approval to waive bid requirements and authorize the purchase of a Cabelco SK55SRR hydraulic excavator slope mower from Great Southern Equipment Company, utilizing the Florida Sheriff's Association bid contract number FSA 17-VEH 15.0, the piggyback form of 18-001B, which is valid through September 30th, 2018. Machines used by the Public Works Streets Division crews to make complete maintenance of ditches and rights-of-way throughout the city that have limited access. The proposed slope mower will be able to more easily access ditches that currently must be trimmed by hand using weed eaters, freeing city crews to spend more time on other maintenance activities. This is a replacement and will replace slope mower number 204. Funding is available in the capital budget, specifically the streets budget. The total cost of the purchase is $59,724. Staff recommends approval.
Need a motion?
Second.
Motion and a second. Yeah, it's a shame. Slope mower 204 was such a good mower, too.
We'll miss it.
But this one makes lemonade.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, it's got all
You
the
can
bells
put
and whistles.
204 in Jerry's house
Oh, yeah,
museum.
put it,
I
we'll give it to
wanted
Jerry.
to see a picture of it.
I know, it doesn't have it's not like the Batwing one or whatever that was called,
No.
the Bat mower. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes 5-0. Thank you. Anything else?
That's it. Thank you, sir.
City Clerk, do you have anything?
Nothing.
Thank you. Well done tonight on the swearing in, as always. City Council, selection of the Vice Mayor. That's just something that happens annually. And I want to thank Vice Mayor Saraki for his year of commitment. I think you will have some interesting or exciting news, but thank you for Vice Mayor and doing that. I think you have some exciting news to replace that with in your council comments, so we'll
Sure.
wait for that. If it's the pleasure of the council, I would like to move forward Councilmember Eric Seidel to be the Vice Mayor for
All
the
right,
coming year.
Eric.
That's it. If I could have a motion for that?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Opposed?
I'm not going to oppose it. I will say this, I find it more enjoyable being elected mayor by the Oldsmar citizens than being appointed vice mayor at any time.
Well, it's just the process, so. Well, I mean, we have to have a process in case.
You lost me on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure where that went.
Think
but-
about it a while.
Well, I mean, you have to do it.
I
mean,
got it.
It's a process that
Sorry.
every city does,
A little
so.
slow sometimes.
No, I
Jerry.
support them. I support it.
Well, I mean, and unfortunately, I'm able to make a lot of the things, but you need to have somebody that represents the city if you can't do it. Plus, anyway, so.
Well, it'd be an honor to serve during your last year, which started tonight.
Yeah, it
Last
did.
year as mayor. So
Yeah.
it's a privilege.
Next year, thank you. Thank you. It's been a great time, so. Next is schedule the work session, and I know we have a couple dates, but we also have, I think, a conflict.
Did we get a vote on that?
Oh, all those, because he kind
Yeah,
of,
he just
did
had
it.
commentary after.
Yeah, we just got the added Beaverland commentary at the end.
Thank you.
Thank you for checking on us, Tom. He's always over here we have some dates, but we have a conflict with the volunteer dinner.
Yes, sir. I apologize, but the volunteer dinner is 6 or 6:30, Angela?
Yeah.
Dan's not here that night.
Yeah, so I mean, it's doable, but I wouldn't want to put that kind of
The
pressure on
10th
it.
is okay for me. I can't be there the 24th.
I have a conflict on the 10th,
And when which was the volunteer dinner?
24th.
evening after, so
Yeah, that's too much because they have to also prepare for the volunteer dinner, so it's a little tough for Ann to be or Kathy to be in two places, so. The 24th, April 24th.
What about the 26th? Get back on the 25th.
Make it a Thursday.
Thursday?
Wait, hold on, stand by. You gotta get the right month.
Or the 27th, which is a Friday.
So the only thing I'll say is Friday, April 27th is Cisco's quarter end.
Oh, yeah.
But potentially like the morning of the 26th, because I could go into the office after that if anyone has an issue with a 9 a.m.
26 works for me as a Thursday.
Works for me.
Mr.
In the morning work okay? At 9?
9 a.m.?
Everybody?
9 a.m.?
No. No, I'm not going to get up that early.
Got a conflict on the 26th
Wait, is that your birthday, Jerry?
in the morning.
That's my birthday.
All right.
How long are we
What if we have a
anticipating?
party at?
Gotta get some cake.
Well,
No,
it's on the
9
codes
o'clock's
if we're
fine
going
with me.
Yeah, but Tom can't make it. He's got a hearing.
Okay.
What about the week before? Or are you gone, Dan, the week before, or?
I leave on the 18th. I come back the 25th.
What about tax day?
You know, I have never seen such a chore for this council to work any dates up for.
That's also a council meeting.
I was
that night,
thinking the 17th,
What'd you say?
the 17th on Tuesday.
too. That's council.
Yeah, I don't want to throw all that in there.
That's because it's showing up on the.
Yeah. I just thought,
Yeah.
I had it in my head.
18th?
As the 15th.
I could do it in the afternoon on the 18th.
I leave on the 18th.
On the 18th.
But I don't know what time. It looks like I'm leaving at 5.
What about the 23rd, Monday? Oh, you're not back.
Was there an issue with the 17th?
It's a council night.
Council meeting.
Oh,
I don't think we want to throw all that in. That would shoot the
And
whole
it's
day.
tax day.
Well, I usually
27th
get
in
my
the,
taxes done
27th in the
later.
afternoon. We mean business in the morning of the 27th. 27th in the afternoon.
I would have difficulty doing that because this goes
Okay.
quarter end.
30th on Monday.
If we did in the morning, I could do that.
30th, April 30th?
April 30th is good for me.
Going once.
How's it look for you, Jerry?
We'll even start at 9:30 so you can sleep in or whatever you do.
Yeah, we'll have to just switch our meeting,
What?
Yes, sir.
okay?
Yep, no problem.
30th, how you look? 30th in the morning it is at 9:01, so we don't start at 9.
Eggs and bacon.
There we got it. Comments by council members. We'll start down with the man that brought 2 shovels, Mr. Jerry Beaver.
Y'all for who you are.
What? Okay, I'll take it. Moving on. Councilmember McGee.
Just a few things. Congratulations, Eric, on your swearing in, and Vice Mayor. It suits you very well. Congratulations to Linda on the mural project. I heard that it was beautiful from the employee picnic. I will unfortunately not be able to attend the cutting on the 29th because that is my birthday that afternoon.
Oh, where are you going to be? Italy, something like that?
No, I'll be in
okay.
the States, but I
Okay.
won't be in this state. I'm going hiking in Havasu Falls for my birthday. And then happy to have Kathy back. And
Yay!
and then just lastly, to echo your sentiments, thank you, Ann and staff for putting on the swearing-in ceremony. You always do a great job, so thank you very much. And that's all I have.
Councilmember Saraki.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I want to just say thank you for the food tonight. Dinner was delicious. Great job, Ann and Kathy, on putting that together. I just want to give you guys an update. I went to the doctor today. They were considering having another operation on my knee because it was so swollen. But because I was able to ride the bike yesterday and I was able to go up and down stairs, they're not going to don't need any more surgery. And I don't have to go back for 6 weeks, so I'm doing great, and I feel great too, and I'm able to sleep at night.
God.
So I wanted to just share that with you guys.
Break a leg.
Last week Friday, I apologized to the city employees for missing the lunch. That's the first time I missed it in 3 years, and I apologize. But the reason why was Friday I went to the Suncoast League of Cities luncheon, and we had elections, and I was elected as the second VP of the Suncoast League of Cities.
Nice.
So I'm really pumped, I'm psyched. Yep, and then we have John Carroll, he's the first VP, and then he's from Largo, and Jamie Robinson was voted in as the third VP from Largo. And so when I'm in Tallahassee, Oldsmar will be in the house.
Nice.
And congratulations to Gabby and Eric on your election and Vice Mayor. That's all I have, Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. Move incoming Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You know, I make notes sometimes, and it gets to the end of the meeting, I'm like, I'm not going to go over that. Congratulations, Gabby. Congratulations. That's great. I know how hard you've worked for that, and it's good for the city.
Yeah.
Good for the city. Reminder, Oldsmar Days. For those of you who are coming out to work it, please do not forget.
Sunday, what time?
Sunday from 12 to 6. We got the team. I know Jerry's going to be out there for the pyramid, but yeah, let's not. We'll knock that out. It should be a good event. I had a question, and I don't know if we've done this yet. If we have, I don't recall. And this is really for the city manager. Have we attempted to put together kind of an economic forecast on the concept plan that we approved for downtown? Not sure.
Meaning the Goodrich property?
You mean
Yeah, the whole property, not, the design that we did. I don't mean it from the standpoint of building it. I mean it from the standpoint of saying, okay, have we tried to look at it from the approach of, let's go on the assumption that we're selling the land, right? We're still going to have the common areas. We've got, I think there's somewhat of a meeting in the mind of most of us that there's some parking lot requirements that the city's probably going to incur. What does that do in switching that property to generate tax dollars? And I know years ago we did the economic forecast for the plan that was kind of pie in the sky, and those numbers probably would have never worked. But I'm just curious if we tried to take any kind of attempt at it. So when we're
I would say the answer to your question is no officially, because there's too many variables, but I was planning on doing some analysis with, say, compared scenarios once we get closer to understanding what the real choices were. And I've done a little personal stuff on it, but nothing official, no.
Okay. But it's kind of on the whiteboard to look at it as we move along.
Yes, sir.
All right. I was curious because I couldn't remember if we did something or we did not. I also want to take an opportunity to congratulate the mayor on becoming president of the Mayor's Council.
Yeah,
That's
good
a
job,
big,
Doug.
you know, all
That's
these
huge.
people filling in. What's the county do without us? I don't know. And also the city staff and the mayor for their work on the grant that we received from Ford Pinellas. That's a big deal. It will pay off for us, it sounds like. And so I know that there were a lot of people who worked on that, so.
We definitely got some pushback, but I think the staff of Ford Pinellas and our staff put together a great presentation and
Well, and I think the work, Jerry's brought this up before, and it always amazes me that a lot of the work that the council members do go way beyond the city borders and relationships and serving on other boards, and even though sometimes they may become frustrating, they ultimately have a huge impact when we're trying to get grants or trying to get in consideration for things, and it's a lot of extra work that people put in, and so it's worth noting. And that, the last thing I had, I did want to thank the clerk's office for tonight and swearing us in. It went flawlessly. We both got sworn in, so we've got that going for us. That's all I got, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
thank you. I don't really have a lot. Congratulations to Gabby and to Eric and to Dan. That's a great thing. And I echo the comments, and you can back that off a little bit if you want.
No, he was killing me. You can always tell when Hurley's back.
I know. I felt like I was staring at myself. But
We felt.
yeah, I know. And not to go back to the study, but I think it falls in a lot of the same lines as Eric just mentioned. I think the fact that we have council members that are so involved in one way, shape, or form, whether it's in the form of a study that is done that gives us ammunition or tools to go after grants, or it's, the Suncoast League of Cities or your service on other boards and the service that we all do, or merely just sharing the word and continuing to beat the Oldsmar drum. I think it has done us well. And whether you agreed, and I don't want to turn this into a discussion about it, but whether you agreed with the raised baseball thing or not, I got to tell you, we got a lot of mileage out of that thing from a little sleepy city to the point that, it continues to come up whenever I meet Mayor Kreisman, and, we continue to joke about it, but we made a lot of noise. And for those that didn't know where we were, it definitely has paid off. And so I think it's the passion of the people that are here, the passion of our city staff that go out and represent our city so well. We've all told the stories about when we go to Florida League of Cities and, we tell our little stories about how sometimes it's David and Goliath and we wind up beating up the giant, and we're not afraid to take on a fight. So, and to current staff, past staff for thinking outside the box, I think that's what continues to make us a great city. So, thanks again to Ann, and welcome back, Kathy. I don't know, you're probably just flat out of gas, and she's just sitting there saying, Mayor, would you shut up? So,
He's getting spicy.
wow. You must have had a big old bowl of funny this morning, didn't you? When you